We believe that every resident of this state deserves access to accurate, fair, and trustworthy local news.
I believe we're a real microcosm of our country. In the Springfield chapter that serves a very rural area, people often feel overlooked, they feel forgotten. And I think it's because their stories aren't told, and journalism really is the first draft of our history.
Again and again, there is one essential ingredient that we know must be present, and that is access to accurate, relevant, trustworthy information. Information about our neighborhoods, about our institutions, our schools, our workplaces, our elected officials, about each other. Without those things, everything else becomes a lot harder.
From Chicago to Cairo, I see the hard-hitting, on-the-ground public service of journalism every single day. There is no computer, there is no artificial intelligence or algorithm that can replace a good human reporter that knows and lives in their community.
We are all living through a historic, not a generational change, but a true historic change in how people consume news, and how news is produced, and how news is distributed, and importantly, in how it's paid for. So there are now about 214 counties in the US that are entire news deserts. There are 1,500 plus counties in the US that are down to one local news source. So you total all that up, and there are more than 50 million Americans that have no or limited access to local news.
Local news is not dying, it is majorly transforming. And that transformation, especially at this scale, it's not neat. It's not easy. And for many of you, the journalists in the room in particular, doing this work every day, it can feel lonely. And so I say to the journalists in the room today, thank you so much for your service.
Gutting local news gutted our credibility. And so we got to just pick up our bootstraps and rebuild this thing one step at a time. The conversation we're going to have here is with this rebuilding of local news. Welcome to all of them.
We all have a common enterprise, which is our democracy, and it has to ground in place because the stakes are so high right now, and also the challenge is so sincere. And we are working not only with tailwinds, but with, of course, some important headwinds.
We're trying to solve an enormous challenge, and maybe arguably the most critical thing we will do, which is ensure access to reliable information for every community in America. You need organizations that are deeply rooted in their communities, that understand their audience, that understand what their audiences need, are willing to commit to doing that work. And that comes in a lot of models.
It's so easy at a national foundation to sit back and fund national organizations, national news outlets. But what MacArthur, what Knight, and other national foundations did is they recognized the critical importance of local news. It is so incredible for a strong, robust democratic society that we have a strong local news network, and thanks to the national funders here for actually supporting this effort overall.
The story of this state must be wide enough to hold both Chicago and Pembroke, Peoria and Springfield, Cairo and East St. Louis. It has to be wide enough for communities across geography and difference to recognize one another as a part of a shared future, a shared landscape. Because communities deserve more to just be seen, they deserve the power to shape what comes next.
Smaller and rural communities across Illinois, places where local news is thin or sometimes gone altogether. When local news disappears, so does visibility into the very issues that funders often care about: education, health, economic development, and civic life.
We are all part of this solution. I've been doing this work for 41 years, and I have the most optimism I've ever had because more people are willing to be at the table than ever had before. So whether you are a funder, an elected official, a business owner, a civic leader, a reader, or a listener, there is a role you can play. We welcome you on the journey because there's an on-ramp for all of you.